Hello my lovelies, something a little bit different today. I mentioned in a previous video that one of the projects I was getting involved with, I was co-creating a calendar with a friend of mine, the photographer Mark Page. Now Mark he's won a lot of awards, but he's most famous for his erotic photography. He did actually win Erotic Photographer of the Year one year in the UK. However, he also does lots of other forms of photography, street photography and stuff like this. He and I had an idea a while ago to create a calendar based on the Pagan Wheel of the Year. And today we're going to be taking the first of 3 photos this week. So let's get to it. Well, this is Mark. Say hello, Mark.
Hello, people.
Right, actually, we're right next to a business park here. There's a pizza hut there. But what we've got over here is the river. And the river is very scenic. I mean, I won't focus on some of the rubbish that's been thrown in there. And we have our model. This is Ari, who's our model. And she's going to be representing spring for us. So this is the kind of location we've got to play with. Here, we've got a nice little river, a nice little secluded glade. We've got a little weir just down here. Don't fall in. So we've got a nice little weir here. And everything about it is very, very nice. And we're not really overlooked by anyone if we do it here. So that's the plan. Now obviously we're shooting here in the middle of August. So we won't have daffodils for spring. So we've got to get some artificial flowers. The colours are a bit mad on those ones in the background, but they can be toned down in Photoshop obviously. But the idea is we've got to have some flowers just to give the impression that it's spring. And Mark's just playing around at the moment with colour balancing and lighting, etc, etc. It's all going well. The person I feel most sorry for, of course, is Ari, who's got to get in the river. You're not worried about getting in the river?
No.
Oh good, that's all I like.
Love a bit of cold water swimming.
Cold water swimming, yeah, well supposedly it's good for your blood pressure.
Apparently so, okay.
Oh.
Actually, that's not too deep like that, is it?
Not too bad now.
You can go that way a bit then. Keep going that way.
If we could get the hem under the water, that would be great, if we could.
Slightly deeper, so,
Over here?
yeah. And then just dip very slightly naturally. Yeah, just need to drop slightly in the water. You're dropping down towards me. Hold this on. And one more, yeah. Let's try.
I'm going drip on drip.
Drip more. Okay, we'll be out there, we'll send you straight.
Okay.
So what do I mean by a pagan calendar? Here's a short history lesson. When the Romans first arrived in Britain, they were going through a bit of a sort of revolution in terms of religion. They were moving across from their vast pantheon of gods, you know, like Mars and Mercury and Jupiter and all that lot, over to the one God, to Christianity. And of course they saw Christianity as being a much more sophisticated and mature religion. So when they came to the UK and found people that worship the sun and the moon and gods of the forest and gods of the sea, they thought we, the British, were very unsophisticated and rustic. So they called us Paganus, which is where we get the word pagan from. And that's all pagan means. There's nothing sinister about it at all. It just means simple, unsophisticated country folk. Heathen is similar. Heathen simply means people who live on the heath. The words picked up different connotations as time went on. Now, at this time, the ancient Britons and indeed most European tribes, certainly the Celts in particular, or what we now think of as the Celts, didn't have an actual fixed calendar like we have now. This is long before the Gregorian calendar and the Julian calendar. What they did was they took their cues from nature. They knew that the year was roughly divided into two halves, a dark half and a light half. And they knew that the changeover happened at the equinoxes. And the equinoxes, of course, are when day and night are of equal length. They also knew that there came a point in each one of those halves of the year, the light half and the dark half, where the changeover occurred, where you had the longest day or the longest night. And those, of course, became known as the solstices. So already they had divided up the year into 4 quarters. What they then noticed is that each one of those quarters had a turning point, roughly about halfway through it, where the season would start to change. For example, if you look at the winter solstice, which is about the 21st of December, around Christmas, or what they used to call Yule in the old days, between then and Ostara, or Easter, which is when we get the equinox, the spring equinox, there was a turning point between those 2 points where the seasons started to change, where winter started to morph into spring. And they gave that the name Imbolc. And what they did was they found that in each one of those quarters of the year, there was one of these halfway points where the seasons started to shift. Now, of course, as the Roman Empire morphed into being fully Christian and the Roman Empire morphed into being Roman Catholicism, these sorts of things were frowned on. But, you know, the Romans, being smart, didn't just try and ban everyone celebrating these things. They actually brought them into Christianity. So Ostara became Easter, Yule became Christmas, Imbolc became the Feast of St. Bridget, and so on and so on. So that's the brief history of it. But what it means is that the old pagan way of marking your travel through a year was actually made up of 8 sections rather than 12. And each of those 8 sections was marked by a feast or a festival of some kind, and they were known as Sabbats. Modern neo-pagans, you know, your Wiccans, your witches, your hedge witches, your druids, your shaman, all the rest of it, they work to the wheel of the year by celebrating those 8 Sabbats, still to this day. And I thought it would be quite a nice idea to make a calendar for those people. I mean, they are one of the fastest growing faith groups in the world. And in somewhere like the UK, where the most recent national census showed that we are actually basically a secular country. More people say they have no religion than people who say they do have a religion in the UK. And of those who say they have no religion, a great many of them identify as pagans. You might be wondering why paganism is on the rise here in the UK and in other countries. In fact, one of the biggest growth countries at the moment is America, which you consider to be quite conservative and Christian. I think it's because at the heart of all of these belief systems that exist outside the main religions, there are 2 main tenets. The first is that the earth is sacred, that the earth is important, that we should revere it. It's the only planet, as far as we know, in the whole universe that's got life on it, and we're its custodians at the moment, and we should look after it. If you look at any environmental march or right to Rome or anything like that, you'll always find pagans up at the front, because they believe in the sanctity of Mother Earth and the fact that we should be living in harmony with it rather than exploiting it. And, you know, with all the various environmental concerns we have at the moment, that's one reason I think why paganism has taken hold. Secondly, there's personal freedom and freedom of expression. I mean, at the heart of virtually every modern neo-pagan belief system is the idea that you should be able to live the way you want to live your own life as long as you don't harm anyone else. A lot of it's to do with respect. We're living through tough times at the moment. There's a lot of taking sides, there's a lot of polarisation, there's a lot of people being very angry with other groups of people, often for no real reason. And the one thing that all of the pagan beliefs share is respect for other humans. That's the first thing. And by pagan, I'm including not only, you know, the stuff like witches and druids and that sort of thing, but also, you know, indigenous religions that you find amongst First Peoples, you know, in America and Australia and various other places. You see, the thing about grouping all of these different beliefs under the one heading of paganism is that there's no one at the top. There's no one saying how you should dress. There's no one saying how you should live your life. There's no one telling you who you can love and who you can marry. What this means is that it doesn't matter whether you are male, female, trans, gay, straight, bi, old, young, black or white. None of that matters. You're a person and you should be respected for who you are. People should show you respect for that, and you should show them equal respect for what they believe in. And a lot of these festivals get celebrated around the country, you know, on May Day and at Yule and at Halloween, or Samhain as it was called in the old pagan calendar. are completely inclusive. There's no rules on who can take part. So, you know, it's a celebration of a place, the place where you live. It's a celebration of the people you live with, and it's a celebration of the time of year or some aspect of the natural world. And that's surely something to celebrate, isn't it? Isn't that something positive? Isn't that better than fracturing into all these different little groups and all arguing and shouting at each other and disagreeing with each other? I'm not a pagan. At least I don't think I'm a pagan, because I would have to have some kind of belief system, and I don't have any kind of belief system at all. But I get where they're coming from, and a lot of my friends are pagans. So that's why I decided to create this calendar for them. And now back to the photo shoot. Okay, we're now trying a different dress that's a bit more floaty.
I mean, I
And
don't
looks-
mind, but it's a bit chilly.
With the floaty dress, we're looking a little bit more.
Yeah, lovely. That's it. Hold up again like that. See if I hold it up, then look back to me, face to me.
Now, with the floaty dress, we're going a little bit more romantic and a little bit more British art of the 19th century. So this will work quite nicely, I think.
One more. What do you other? Just point up.
Like this?
So that's the first photograph of 8 complete, and we've done Ostara. Next we're going to do Lunasa. Oh, hang on, Harry wants to do a selfie. Hang on. Hello, yes, as I was saying, we're going to do the Lunasa one on Thursday.
Oh, that's lovely.
Which is all to do with Beltane and the Green Man.
We've just had that season, haven't we?
Oh, no, I've got to say that again. And then on Tuesday we're doing the Lunasa one, which is to do with the harvest. And then we're doing Beltane, which is May. Right, Mark? Right.
I'm good, I'm good.
And then we're doing Beltane on Thursday, which is May, and the Green Man, and all that sort of stuff. So that's the first photo shoot done out of 8 photo shoots. I'll see you all in part 2 of this series. Toodle pip. If you've enjoyed this video, then please consider subscribing. Or click on some of these links to look at some of the other videos on the channel. Or press the like button. Or leave a comment. It would be lovely to hear from you. Any combination of those 4 things would be wonderful. Thank you very much.